It's actually a very simple machine to work on.
He's a mechanic by trade in the Coast Guard, so.
Like, it really is
And
simple,
his dad
but
was also a machinist.
the issue I'm now running into is you've got the petcock, which is like your on-off valve for the fuel, because it wasn't actuated for years. Now that somebody's messed with it, me, it's starting to leak. So that's a $15 replacement. There's a little pump over here to manually prime the system. Like when you change out filters, you're gonna have to push fuel back through all of that. And I think there's a blockage in that little pump. It's like 45 bucks, 40 bucks for another pump. Swap it out. I mean, but really, like, this book is, I mean, it's, because it is a 70s model, it's old enough that you can actually work on it. And, like, they've engineered it for the farmer to actually be able to work on.
Unlike modern John Deere.
Yeah, I mean, you go buy a John Deere.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have a John Deere mechanic
now. You legally can't even work on it.
Just like Caterpillar, you can't have anybody else.
Mainly just what I'm doing with the tractors is a lot of it is cutting behind the cows and sheep right now.
All the stuff is trash.
Yeah, whatever they're not eating or trampling, I'm cutting so that we're just putting more carbon back into the ground, and we're trying to keep the grasses in that prime growth cycle before they're going to seed head.
So they're not shaded out by all the trash.
Another big thing we use the tractor for is trailering animals. So we're trailering animals up and down the road when we're moving from the couple of different properties, and it's just easier with the tractor than it is with the truck to kind of get into some of the tight spots. And then, like, loading up our hogs, I can't even get my truck down one of these paths back to the pigs. Turning over the compost pile, it's just nice to have the tractor.
Yeah.
Anything you need to do, really.
No, fabulous.
This year, so these are our turkeys.
For Thanksgiving.
For Thanksgiving, yeah. So we only do turkeys once a year, and that's for Thanksgiving. This year, we decided to actually drive to the hatchery or meet them. They have their own trucks. All of our poultry comes through USPS, and in the last 4 years, it's just been getting worse and worse every year.
How so?
So, just a lot of dead on arrival chicks. Last year, for turkeys the first batch was a complete loss, and then they sent us our second batch, and they're coming from West Virginia.
I should get here in
It's a
12 hours.
It's a 6-hour drive from this farm to the hatchery, and it took like 4 days for the birds to get here. So and they're coming the week of 4th of July so that they can be the proper size by Thanksgiving. And so when you order 75 birds but then only end up butchering 45, it sucks.
Yeah.
So this year we chose to drive up, meet the truck from the hatchery,
which was really great for our initial birds. It was great. Really helped us.
Yeah. So we'll see this year how mortality goes post-brooder.
They're still very delicate.
They're
turkeys.
very fragile. Very fragile.
So I guess, because that's one thing I wanted to talk about on, like, just brooding chicks versus turkeys. Are there any differences in terms of what you need to help for them to survive?
They need a lot more grit.
So getting grit in there for them, which is in the little pan here.
Big difference for them.
We'll do like multiple watering options. So for the ones that just don't get the nipple system, we've got a little jug there for them.
They need to learn. They're very inquisitive, but they need to be like mothered and taught things. But they find ways to die.
Like with that 5-gallon bucket, it's got the little nipples on the bottom that they can peck at and get their water. Well, they'll also try to roost on the bucket, and then they'll fall in and die and drown. So when we forget that they do that kind of dumb stuff.
Well, like the first turkey that does it. Like it's because they don't flying initially. They aren't doing all that, and all of a sudden one flies and it lands right in the water bucket.
Yeah.
And you
so
lose
then
turkey.
You come out here in the morning to do water, and there's 2 little dead turkeys in there, and you're like,
Yeah.
well,
Oh,
that
everyone's
sucks.
flying now. Yeah.
Now I remember that we're supposed to do that.
Yeah, how long do these stay in here for the turkeys?
So the turkeys are in the brooder. We usually try to keep them in there 5, maybe 6 weeks.
It just depends. If we know we're gonna have like a really rainy, nasty week, like they'll die out there. Like they are delicate. They're gonna be like, oh, we love this rain. It's amazing. And you're like, no. Find your shade cloth, get roosted up, get off the wet puddle ground.
Yeah.
They just have to there's once they hit, what, 8 weeks,
I think
12
after
weeks?
8 weeks, they're pretty hardy.
It's hard. You have to kill them in order for them to die after that. But before then, they find a million different ways.
I love having that available for Thanksgiving. That's like one of our favorite holidays. Like, I love
We like food.
Butcher Day for turkeys, and then having all the customers come out and picking up turkeys.
Because we make them pick up on farm, our customers that do turkey, so you have to visit the farm
Really?
in order to get your turkey.
Yep. And then we'll have our buddy David that does produce locally. He'll set up collards or sweet potatoes or something else that's in season. And yeah, it's just a cool, fun event. And
We just hang out
and
in the farm
people
store all
are
day.
people are willing to pay a little bit more. It's a holiday meal, you know what I mean? It's a special. And then once it's just like the chicken. Back in here. So the Cornish cross, we do roughly 225 birds in this.
We have one
Brooder.
injured, one out of the field
One older bird that was injured, so we brought him in here.
today.
But yeah, what we'll do is when they start out, when we get them shipped to us, a couple of 2 days old, we'll kind of block off this other section. We'll have these lowered, or we can raise and lower them based on the weather, how warm it is. But then, like I was saying earlier about just the radiant heat, as this is all composting under our feet, it gives off some heat for them. Yeah, and then I found these water lines out of just a traditional chicken house, and that really mitigated the amount of water we were wasting. Every time the chicken would peck the nipple, they'd get a drop of water and the ground would get a drop of water.
So we're refilling 3 times a day.
So now with the little cups, I'll have to come through and kind of scrape out some of the shavings that they throw in there, but every time they hit the nipple, they'll get a little and the cup gets the rest, and so we're saving a ton of water, especially out in the field. That's
And
the biggest
time.
thing.
Yeah,
And
time.
care.
Yeah.
And just being concerned about it.
What's the thing with just agriculture too? Those little things, what you just described, it's just like the most minute little detail, but multiply that times infinity.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why it might seem like only 1 second, but again,
The mental load is much higher. Well, and I
And-
think that's how we got to factory farming. They
Yes.
improved it to the point that it was very convenient for the farmer, but we lost all the human aspect that we were putting into the animal. So
Yeah.
we have to find that balance yet again and keep it.
Because everything we do is scalable. Like an extra 10 minutes of watering a day when you're running 225 birds or whatever is one thing, but if we do bump this and we're doing 500, 600, 800 bird batches, that extra 10 minutes is going to increase as well, right? So adding something simple like these water lines, if it's saving us time, that
It's
we
worth
can
it.
it's totally worth it. This year has been probably, I don't want to say the worst year for getting chicks, but it's been
interesting.
getting live chicks on the farm this year has been pretty rough. Started out really rough, which
It got a little better.
we plan everything in January as far as our chicks.
Like we order them. We
So we
plan
order all of
them.
our poultry in January, plan the entire year, when they're going to arrive, when they're going to get butchered, all of that. And then we base everything else on the farm around that.
Yeah.
And our
Poultry.
family.
And right, like our
And
family
our social
stuff.
engagements and church
So
stuff.
when that first batch ends up showing up a week or 2 weeks late or
Or not
whatever,
at all, as several did this
so
year.
we've had a couple of
Several
batches.
just didn't even show up.
Yeah,
yeah.
they didn't ship them. The
Just the hatchery just
forgot.
didn't even ship.
Well, even just kind of going back to what you said on the podcast, to where whenever you're just sharing to your customers of like you're actually supporting me, the farmer, on the topic of just not having the 300 potential, chicks that would have been butchered for additional income. It's not like you're just using that to buy a new car and just float off into the sunset.
And we're still at that point where we're putting more and more money into the business.
Yeah.
Every year we're
Every
putting, decent money into the business. So we'll see what happens this winter. Normally what we try to do is get a couple dump truck loads of wood chips or whatever. So I'll have a wood chip pile, which we weren't able to get any chips this year, so we've been just using old hay as our kind of carbon side of it. You can't really see the pile underneath
The
taller
squash.
vegetation there. Is last year's compost pile that's very well broken down, and then to the right is this year's pile that's currently breaking down. But we also get pumpkins in the fall from another local producer after Halloween, like November 1st or 2nd. She usually
They have a
calls
big
up.
pumpkin patch. And she
Calls
does a
up.
lot of heirloom ones. So.
And she'll say, hey, I got 3 or 4 acres of pumpkins still out here if you want to come get them. So we'll feed those to the animals in the fall. We've learned that the pumpkin seeds are kind of a natural anti-parasitic, so that helps us big time in the fall, winter time.
Yeah, if we can feed them heavy for a week or so, it can take care of parasites for the year.
So that's kind of what, some of it ends up in the compost, and I'm pretty sure that's what's growing here now.
Yeah, there's a really pretty one over here.
Big, yeah.
I know, it's a pretty white one.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's just growing out of the compost, like
So,
random.
Happy
And
compost.
there's some other kind of...
There's some squash.
A friend of ours during our housewarming party gifted us a pig, a piglet.
We had
and
just
so,
the woven wire up, no electric.
Yeah, so we weren't able to
It's a
get...
great gift.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
I think it's hilarious that that's a gift. Here's
Oh,
a
yeah.
pig.
Yep.
Now you got to
Yep.
do it.
Just showed up with it in the back of
And-
his shell of the back of his pickup truck.
And so, like,
Yeah,
I don't know, 4 or 5 hours after we had dropped it off in here with just the woven wire, I was like, hey, talking to my brother-in-law, let's go check in on that pig before it gets dark. Gone. So then we spent the next hour chasing this
with
pig.
everybody from our housewarming party.
Yeah. The goal is we try to really kind of look at the impact on the land to determine when we move them. And usually it's in a 5 to 10 days they go to a new paddock.
It has not gone that way this year.
This year,
It has been.
just
messy.
because we've had pigs at different growth stages.
We produced on farm for the first time every pig that we are putting out. So this is our first full year of having nothing but our own pigs and our own production. And what we found is that we have a lot. They're really good at making piglets and they're thriving. So we're having larger groups of pigs that are having to go through, and we can't join the smaller pigs with the larger pigs because then they get beat up or they get pushed out from feeding. So then their growth rate suffers. So,
And the weather has been kind of holding us back as well.
yeah, and
Just,
it's been
yeah.
a heavy year.
I'll find some of the more less desirable trees and we'll put some feed around that and let them just root it up.
Yeah. Or even cut them down and just leave and feed it right
Yeah,
at the roots.
leave the stump
Yep.
and they'll root up the stumps, do that thing. But yeah,
They'll find like even mineral deposits and dig
yeah,
like
it's crazy to
holes
see
to get to that mineral deposit.
pigs that come into one of these paddocks and they've never been there before, but each group of pigs that have been in there, whether they were pigs that we had brought in from another farm or the ones that were born here, and they'll all gravitate to that same spot and they'll dig in that same spot to get whatever that mineral is that they need, which is really cool. And the thing about the pigs, I mean, we just had however much rain we did, right? So it's muddy and yucky, but they're very clean animals. They keep their bathroom area in one section, sleeping area in one section, their eating area in another.
I mean, even with as many pigs that are out here, it's not piggy.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
And then how long do you keep them before?
They're right at a year when we butcher, 9 months to a year.
We shoot for 250 to 300 pounds. That's what I'm taking to the butcher. And so we're getting them from farrow to finish in 9 to 10 months. These guys, I mean, that hog right there is probably pushing 300 pounds. And these are the last of the litter that came off of our old boar. So these guys are mostly Duroc and Hereford.
Yeah, you can tell the Hereford because it's
Yeah.
like a white belly.
Little containers where the water station.
Yep. So that's how we water them. There's a little nipple.
A nipple on one
the
side.
side.
It is definitely the cleanest way. It is
Yeah.
the most efficient way to get them water, and they're so smart about it. Like, you show them, and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
perfect, thank you.
The coolest thing about it was we were taking these pigs that were coming from generation after generation after generation of growing up on concrete with fluorescent lighting, and the absolute first thing they did when they got on dirt was start digging it up. Like, it's so ingrained in their DNA to do that. And then even with one of the breeders we have came off of that farm as a piglet, and we decided to keep her to start some of the breeding.
Which, farrowing with a hog house pig that was born in a hog house, you have hog house breeding genetics, and you don't even realize how ingrained that is. Humans have that too. Like, I am a doula, so like I have seen that. Women that their mother didn't give birth, they have a hard time with the concept of giving birth. So when she wasn't in a crate, she was like a little bit more nervous and sketched out, rather than the other pig that had come out of a woodland environment to give birth and was born outside. Like, she knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
Look at her blowing bubbles. That's funny. Like chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Right, Tia? That's Tia. You can see that she's never been in a hog house. Her snout is extremely long. It's indicative of pigs that live outside their whole lives in multiple generations.
Compared to
So these are a little bit
Big
shorter
Mama
snout.
here. Yeah.
He's also from a hog house.
I was gonna say, whenever you mention that, as soon as the difference is pretty stark.
Yeah.
between
Yep.
these two.
So we'll see more of that genetic the longer that we breed here outdoors. Her genetic will become more dominant. But she manages them very well.
Very well.
And she's not a crusher. She does not crush them. She is extremely aware of where her babies are.
So Big Mama,
I don't think so.
Was it the last time she farrowed, Jess? She had 19?
No, 2 times ago.
So she had 19 piglets. 4 were stillborn, so only 15 live. But
He's not a toy.
yeah, I couldn't believe that. They just kept coming and coming out and coming out.
Curious with pigs in particular, so starting your farm, that's one thing that consumers really have misconceptions on, are pigs. And so I'm curious, just the conversations you've had, especially at farmers markets, just on your pork and just pigs in general.
I mean, most people have eaten Smithfield pork, so they think it has no flavor, and they think pigs are dirty and nasty, and teaching people that pigs have a place that they use the bathroom, a place that they eat, a place where they sleep, and that none of those places touch is mind-boggling to them. We just constantly, and I'm like, they're omnivores. They eat as much salad as they do protein-rich food. So if they can find a bug, they're eating the bug. If they find a snake, they'll eat a snake. Like, they don't care.
Yeah.
They root up everything and eat everything.
Yeah.
They turn everything into muscle.
I think the biggest thing is with our customers, people realizing that pork has a flavor, and it's not just
White.
just a bland whatever sauce you put on it is the flavor you get out of it. I mean, this is one of the paddocks here that we're trying to regenerate. When we first got on this was super scrubby, a lot of just junk growth in here, or very bare spots.
And a lot of trees.
Lots of trees coming in here,
Which
which isn't always, like, not necessarily a bad thing. But that's also why we try to run our cows and sheep together. Like, they'll eat different things. And if you look, like, we have a ton of different varieties of grasses, legumes, and just lots of stuff growing in here. So
like this leaf, it regrew leaf again, not went to seed. Like, that's what you want to hit it when it's at this height, usually knee high for us on this pasture. But like,
Yeah.
you can see, like, all of this put all of its energy into seed head, so it has less grass on it. So it didn't get hit. It didn't
Right.
get hit hard enough soon enough. So it put a lot of energy into the seed head.
And so this is all just
Seed bank
native
and,
stuff.
and donated from the nature around it.
yeah, like whatever. Now in the winter when we feed hay, we'll feed hay directly on the ground. So some of that might have some seeds that we're getting. Now the corn, they're not going to
It's-
spray the corn to kill it off like they'll spray soybeans or cotton. So the corn will just naturally kind of die off before they harvest all of that. But it's certainly getting sprayed
initially
when it's small. And I'm sure some of that probably drifts over here, but
and probably is more in the runoff in the water. Like that's why we
probably.
have a water filter in our house that gets out glyphosate, like because that's a real thing that's happening in rural communities.
Yeah.
Their water is tainted. So
Yeah, so we run about 200 layers. These birds are coming up on about a year old. So what we'll do is I'll get these as chicks in like September-ish, September, October time frame. And then that way, once they start laying, it's usually end of February, beginning of March, kind of once spring kicks off. And then we'll keep them for 2 years, 2 laying seasons. After that second laying season, their egg production kind of drops off. And then we'll sell them. We'll just sell them live to people that want some backyard chickens. And they've been a good addition. I was very hesitant with the guard dog kind of thing.
Josh hates change.
Well, it's not that. It's just, here's 2 more mouths to feed. Here's 2 more, like, dogs that I'm responsible for. So when...
And they eat a lot. Great Pyrenees they're big dogs.
This is a Marima, so it's an Italian version of
they're basically the same
very
thing,
similar, but they don't try to take as much territory. So the
Right.
Great Pyrenees would have already been in that cornfield all day.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
these guys are like, I found an egg pile. I'm going to sit with my egg pile. These are my chickens. You want to see some eggs? Want some footage of some
Yeah.
eggs?
Downfalls to egg production is cleaning those eggs. We've invested in these. You hear that, Al? There he goes again. So these nest boxes are just rolled away nest boxes. I can't remember the
Best
brand.
Nest.
Oh, the best nest box. When you see the sticker price at first, you're like, that's a little high for something these birds to lay eggs in. However, the eggs roll away from the chicken into the tray there.
Like they usually don't
and
even poop in there.
Extremely
No
clean.
Stop it.
And so that saves us so much time on washing eggs.
Be
For the
fired.
most part, like, they're pretty clean. Like on real muddy days after it's been raining and stuff, yeah, you'll have some muddy eggs, but yeah, they're clean. Early on, before we were even selling chicken, Jessica had bought me Joel Salatin's Pasture Poultry Profits, I think it is. And so when we got out here and we were using a pen, I didn't have any diagrams or anything to go off of. I just, in his book, he said it's this size, and I'm like, all right, well, we're gonna do it about that size. And that's what we were running for a couple of years in Portsmouth. And then when we got here, I pulled the book back out, built these structures, but I remember seeing some kind of dolly that he had, because we'd done a couple of times, we've visited Polyface, and so there was maybe 2 pictures of this dolly in the book. And so I just looked at those pictures and I'm like, all right, what do I got laying around the garage that I can build something out of?
He literally took the pipes off the wall that were for the
air compressor.
I
was like, well, I'm not using the air system, so I'll use this black iron pipe.
It's just a lot of looking at the land constantly and seeing what it needs.
Mm-hmm. So like with our broilers, right? We were on the property we just left, and we had already done 1 wave down, turned them, another wave back, and another back up, and we had covered that entire back of that field. And
the field is completely different than was last year.
Right, and so it's like, okay, I've got a lot of nitrogen on this ground now, and if I can help not bringing these birds back over ground that birds have already been on, if I have the room to do it, why not? And we knew, just watching this down here, we were getting a lot of really good, real thick grass growth in here.
But no height.
But not really, we weren't getting the leaf material we necessarily wanted. So we knew, hey, we need some nitrogen down here. This is where the broilers need to come next. Come on. Come on. Come on. Go on. Go. Go. Good boy. Easy. Giving them a smaller paddock and kind of forcing them to eat what they don't necessarily want to, but it's still good forage for them, or stomp down the rest that they don't eat. That's just, it's promoting good growth. And another benefit that I don't think Jessica and I haven't really touched a whole lot on is like parasite management. So
Talk about that.
if these animals aren't, if they're leaving where they were 24 hours ago and they're doing that every day, and they're not coming back onto the same ground that they were on, we're breaking that parasite cycle. And the good thing about like cows and sheep, they can share parasites, but there's certain parasites that will die out in a sheep that they can get from a cow and vice versa. And they'll eat different stuff. The sheep will eat a little bit more of the broadleaf stuff. The cows will eat more of the taller.
Start your.
How do you figure out again the sizing of these? I know that changes and it's based off your observations, but these are really set really well, and so yeah, I was just curious how you went about that.
Yeah, so when we've grazed this pasture once already this year.
So this is the second time.
So this will be the second time. So when we got back in here,
They were on it in the winter, so they didn't start back on it until like summer almost.
right. So when we got back in here, was it last week? I think it was.
Yeah.
It's really trial and error again, where it's like, okay, this is about the size paddock we were doing last time we grazed here. Let's see how it goes again. This year we've got far more grasses and less of like what we would call weeds and stuff in here. So,
but they're the native grasses, and they're kind of picky about them.
yeah. So we started out saying, okay, well, let's give them probably a little bit bigger paddock than what they're in right now, so that we could kind of not do too much damage, but just enough. And then we realized that
It was a little too big.
they just weren't eating it down or stomping it down enough for what I want to see. I want to see like 75%. When I'm walking through this paddock 24 hours from now, I want to see like 75% of these grasses either laid over or bitten off. And then I want to move them. So if I want to move them every day, then I'm going to have to keep adjusting those paddocks till I get to that point.
And this is a little bit bigger paddock. They'll probably be on this 2 whole days because we're moving them in the evening. And they tend to, when it's like warmer out, they graze the evening and night a lot more and rest during the day. So it's warming back up today. And
yeah, this
tomorrow,
week will be a little bit warmer than last.
So doing evening
do some evening
rotations is better on the animals.
And Josh, you mentioned previously too on the parasite load.
Mm-hmm.
Having both sheep and cows, what's that look like?
Yeah, so there's parasites that can live in a cow that cannot in a sheep, and parasites that can live in a sheep and cannot in a cow. So if for some reason they do have a parasite and then they share them, they'll die out in each other, and then
They obviously share some, but
right, like,
but there are some that they don't share.
and that's something that we have. I mean, ever since we've had the sheep and cows, we've always had them together. We've always moved them very regularly. So parasites have just not been an issue. We do a good red mint salt mineral and then kelp as well for mineral. We do basic H in their water a couple times a year. Basic H is just it's it's an all natural soap essentially, very concentrated soap. So we get it in
Basically
it.
dissolves the outside of the parasite so it can't live.
Right. So we mix that in with their water. It's like 1 cup of this soap concentration to 100 gallons of water. So we'll mix it in, and then they'll drink all of that, and it handles all of those parasites. We have the only time that we have had issues with parasites is when we have put, and I'm not 100% sure if it was parasites or something that they ate, but when we put lambs in a barn, when we barn stalled them for, I can't even remember the reason we did it, but
No, we
it
were
was in the
trying to dry
wintertime.
up the
I
moms.
think we were just trying to wean some lambs off or whatever the
But
case
it was
was.
a wet winter on top of it, so then they were in that barn stall.
And it went terribly. I mean, we lost probably 15 lambs maybe.
Not all from that barn stall. Like I don't even think there was 15 lambs in there.
No, but when
It was
even
after
when
the fact, so I think it. I don't know. We also had like these apples that we had in the like in our big walk-in that we like threw out and they ate, and I think that
I think that had something to do with it too.
it messed them up in their biome.
So yeah,
So
I'm curious then. So I noticed there's 5 cows, and then how many sheep are here?
30.
30. Yeah.
What would be, in your opinion, like max stocking density for this paddock?
For this paddock here,
You probably put. Well, I'm like it's all based on time, so they could be on here with higher stocking density for less time. So if you wanted to double everything,
I would.
just be half the time.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have more than 40 sheep and probably 8 cows in a paddock this size, but we would definitely be moving them.
More.
Certainly at that 24-hour mark, no doubt, for a paddock this size. But I bet we would get, with those numbers, I bet we would get probably right at that grazing that we want to see.
Yeah, we need more.
I think for the properties that we're managing, I think we could manage probably up to 50 sheep and probably somewhere close to 15 cows total.
I think we do more cows.
Our sheep are a cross between Katahdin, St. Croix, and Dorper. So
They're a hair sheep.
yeah, so they're all hair sheep varieties. The Dorper being largest, I think, of the hair sheep varieties. So hair sheep meaning that they will shed their hair, their wool, every spring.
We don't have to shear it.
So we don't shear them. We don't do anything with the wool. It just sloughs off, falls in the grass. The birds in the air, they'll pick it up. They'll make nests. They'll do their thing with it.
Some of their fiber is better than others. We have a couple of different sheep that have like actually like very wool-like
Curly
hair.
Yeah.
And then we have other ones that look like a goat.
Yeah. If I'm going to put this much time and energy into this, I need to maximize how much meat I'm getting back to sell. So we kind of landed on these Herefords.
They're docile.
Yeah, they're very docile. Even the bull, I mean, we could walk in there right now and we can get this close to him.
He's
We might not be able
freaking
to,
out. He's coming towards us.
might not rub his head or anything, but he's a nice, friendly bull. We're definitely here in the last probably 18 to 24 months kind of really getting on our groove. Like,
our systems are finally established well enough and we are all on the same page.
yeah. Like we've failed at enough stuff that we know how to do it right now, or we know what works here on our property in our part of Suffolk. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to fine-tuning beef in the future, like, crossing this with that and different genetics as far as, because there's plenty of amazing grass genetics out there that will
be nice to bring in.
That will get you some big, beefy cows on just straight grass. And so
hopefully we have the right grass.
They're loving it.
Yeah, they do.
They do. They're happy. And the sheep, whatever the cows don't like, the sheep
They'll
like,
eat
perfect.
anything.
This is what
They
we
don't
like.
care.
Just takes way more sheep to eat the same amount that a few cows eat.